You have to beat your competition. You have to be posting every day, twice a day. You have to never let your customers forget about you, or your followers forget about you.
Starting or growing your business is hard work. But now you are listening to the Better Business Podcast with me, Steve Cook, and I'm going to try and make it a little easier on you. We on this podcast help you grow a better business with real advice from professionals, and today is no different. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Better Business Podcast. I am your host, as usual, Steve Cook, and on today's episode, I have a special guest by the name of Brandon Haraho. He is a marketing expert. In a past life, he owned and operated his own email marketing agency, but is now currently the VP in charge of marketing and creative for the Montana Knife Company. The Montana Knife Company is one of the fastest growing businesses in the hunting and outdoors industry. Brandon was just telling me that it has only been formally around for 9 months to a year, something like that. But Montana Knife Company is growing very quickly. And our topic for today is how to build an Instagram following. Brandon, for a small business to grow an Instagram account and grow a brand through some of these social media platforms that we talk about, I assumed and wrongly assumed that you guys probably put quite a bit of money into advertising. You admitted that you guys have not spent a dime on advertising. Tell me about that.
Yeah. So, it's kind of like a blessing and a curse. So we are in the knife industry, and Facebook sees hunting knives as weapons. Um, So we are actually banned from putting any type of ad spend behind our post, or even creating top funnel ads that link back to our website, because at the end of the day, the customer can come to our website and purchase a knife. I've had some really high end meetings with Facebook execs, the global director of Facebook, like ecom, and all this stuff. And there's just, unfortunately, it's written in the guidelines that a hunting knife is considered tactical. It's meant for killing, not for processing meat. Which a hunting knife,
Wow.
obviously, you do not kill any animals with a knife. The animal's usually harvested with a gun or a bow and arrow. So it's this interesting spot that they put us in, because then also too, on the other side, you're allowed to market culinary knives that are cutting meat on a cutting board, but you can't advertise hunting knives that are cutting meat off the bone. It's kind of
That's
like one of those things.
crazy. I could understand that if like hunting or something was in your name, but it's
Mhm.
crazy that like you're just a knife company and that they have you flagged like that. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, yeah, and like I said, like I've talked to physical people at Facebook, our ads rep manager, and then like also the guy that was the global director. I forgot his actual title, and he's like, yeah, he's like, there's just nothing we can do because of the nature. It has to be a culinary chef knife to be able to advertise um, on Facebook and Instagram. And there's like workarounds, like there's ways to like promote a certain like part of the brand. Like if we wanted to just do T-shirts, or if we wanted to just do,
Gotcha.
um, you know, some other knife company has
Merchandise or
noticed
something.
work, right, merchandise, or like if we want to, build a blog and promote the blog, or build a podcast, promote the podcast. There's workarounds that work. There's ways to work around it, but
Okay.
we haven't gotten to that point yet where we need to do that, because of, it's kind of put us in a position to grow this brand organically, and it's been working so well for us that we're just going to double down on that until we hit some type of market saturation.
Gotcha. That's really interesting. So, getting into more like, specifically Instagram for a small business for the purpose of selling things. I think there's kind of a difference between whether you enjoy it or not. If you kind of take that out of the equation, how do you feel is the current state of Instagram? Do you feel like it's growing more than ever? Do you feel like it's on a downward spiral? Do you feel like it's already dead? How do you feel about Instagram?
So, I'm not particular to any platform. Um, you know, Personally, I would probably end up favoring Instagram, just because I am a photographer. Like that's what I got like my start with, and that's what's always worked really best for me. It's always been my strongest tool in my toolbox is photography. So I've always leaned towards Instagram, but to me, that's just where our customers are right now. That's where our demo is. We're a pretty expensive knife company, so we have to know where our customer is. TikTok has a certain age range. It's like 13 to 24. And I'm not saying they don't have the money to buy a $350 knife, but they're just not there as much as where the Instagram demo is. And the Instagram demo is that, 25 to 45, 25 to 40, and we just seem to have so much more engagement there. So once we notice, like, Instagram's our spot, just go all in. Not forgetting Facebook, we still do everything on Facebook. We create some content for it, but it just doesn't hit like it does on Instagram. Same thing with TikTok, same thing with YouTube, same thing with Twitter. We're on everything, and we constantly dabble and test it just to see if we can ignite something, but nothing is hit like Instagram. And I get that.
Why do you think
I get
that
that
is? Do you
question.
think it's because your demographic is there so much? Or do you think it's because maybe you're better at Instagram than other platforms?
I definitely think it's a mix of both. We're really good at Instagram, but what's the beautiful thing that I like about Instagram that I can't seem to do with the other platforms, especially like things like TikTok, is it's really hard to hold a conversation with your customer on those other platforms. So like if you go into our DMs, like our DMs or even our comments, like every comment, we respond to it, and there's threads inside those comments, and there's so the thing is it's it's a place for us to actually communicate back and forth with our customer better than any other platform. uh, you
Gotcha.
know like I like to measure likes, and I like to measure shares and all that stuff, but what I like to measure is like a DM. Like, is that customer reaching out to, like, did a post ignite something in them to the point where, like, they don't even want to talk about a comment? They want to go directly to the owner and be like, you said something that hit hard with my core beliefs, and I want to discuss about it. And now, like, those people are technically kind of like our friends. And I mean, I've had month-long conversations with some of our customers, about, because, our big thing is, American manufacturing, hiring local, buying local, like that's a really big, belief system in our company. And, people want to talk about that, and so, like I said, I don't think Instagram is dead. I just think it's a lot harder to grow an actual organic following than it was in the past. There's no more hacks for Instagram. They blocked all the hacks. They blocked all the follow on follows. They blocked all the buying followers. They blocked all that stuff. So people are like, now it's hard. Well, yeah, because now you actually have to do the work. You have to
Because
make, um,
Zuckerberg's freaking smart, so we'll deal with
yeah, he's
it.
he's smart, and and you have to beat your competition. You have to be posting every day, twice a day. You have to never let your customers forget about you, or your followers forget about you. So, um, that was kind of like a long answer, but like, no, I don't think Instagram is dead. Um, Honestly, like, I don't see anything on the horizon for that age group. Like, I don't see them all moving to TikTok. They might, but I really don't think that's really where they're going to go. So,
What if TikTok releases a picture update or something like that? Do you think then they would?
they would, but like, again, like I said, I don't think it's the picture versus video thing. I think it's just how TikTok is set up. Like, TikTok to me is for viewing. It's just for going
Sure.
and just endless scrolling. Like, I
Quickly.
don't know.
Yep.
Yeah, so I don't know how much, like, people actually go on TikTok and actually just sit there and communicate. Yes, there's comments, but those comments are secondary to just sitting there and just, it's almost like watching TV to me. Like, I'm not going and talking, I'm not, interacting with the commercials. Like, on Instagram, you're actually
Sure.
literally just interacting with commercials. It's kind of crazy when you really think about it, because it's just businesses putting out commercials, and then the customers get to interact with it. So yeah.
That's interesting. on one of the things we had talked about before, you when I asked what is something that every small business owner should stop or start doing right now, one of the things that you had said was that um, people should stop focusing on what everyone else is doing. In a Instagram world, do you how do you feel that what's something you see that small businesses or businesses in general do that drives you crazy?
Just like at the beginning, just watching people try to mimic like every other company, or specifically try to mimic things that do well for other people outside of their industry or outside of their market or outside of their demo, early off. So it's, if you're a company, and like, well, let's just use like Montana Knife Company for example. We're built on the pride of creating an awesome product, American manufacturing, and all that stuff. And it's a super very, I mean, it's a pretty serious, context. Like we're talking about. Sorry, I said serious and then opened up my Siri. Um, Sorry about that. But no, but like I said, like our context is very serious based, because it's something that we want to drive home. So we don't want to go out and make gag reels, and bring in gag reels or something like that because gag reels are hitting hard, or like, trying to mimic some of these like funny TikTok videos and then inject them into our brand.
So
Those might
so
work.
basically, if you want to relate this to all different kinds of businesses, stay in the lane that you're selling. So if you're selling a serious product, post serious videos. If you're selling a laid back product or maybe a restaurant or something that hosts a lot of parties or something like that, stay with the way that your company is perceived.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it doesn't mean you can't go out and test those things, but, you know, find out what your customer is, what your customer is expecting to see, and then just kind of double down on that.
How do you think you guys are unique from other people as far as I understand that your product is definitely unique, especially being American source and things like that, and a high quality product. But how do you think that specifically Montana Knife Company is different on Instagram? You guys have tens of thousands of followers, and that's hard to do, especially in the short amount of time that you guys did it. What's different about your Instagram page? What can people learn from you?
I think the number one thing is consistency. Going back, I think I've only not posted 2 days this year.
Wow,
So in most days I'm posting twice, and those 2 days I missed were just we were just out of service in like Arizona, out the top of
you're
the mountain.
hunting, huh?
Yeah, we were hunting. So, um,
That's awesome.
yeah. So the biggest thing is just consistency and just constantly making sure you're always posting. It's just like podcasts. It's the same notion. It's like the most popular podcasts are the ones that get released every week or every other week, and the customer knows that it's
Or
going to be
multiple
there.
times a
So
week. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
How do you think people should post? Let's say someone's just starting out, and this is for all industries. This is for restaurant, for a coffee shop, this is for a feed store. How many times do you think they should post in their feed? How many times do you think they should post in their story? What should they do? Just kind of give a general overview.
I think no matter what, one post every day. And just start with that. Just do that for a couple months and just see what that does. If it doesn't do anything, maybe, like I said, maybe just social media isn't your demo.
Hmm.
Go test it somewhere else. So this is, specifically if social media is working for your company, kind of double down on it and just post every day. Timing wise, that is based off of your customer. I found out that, our most engaged times is Friday night and Saturday night.
Huh.
And like you listen to any like social media person and, or, director or whatever, they're like, no, it's Tuesday mornings, Thursday mornings are the popular times because that's when everyone's at work. But our demo is extremely blue collar. So I know that, they're working during the day. Our social media is pretty quiet during your 9 to 5. In the evenings, they're at home. They put the kids down to bed. They're sitting on the couch or whatever they're doing, and that's usually when they're catching up on their social media. And then, on Fridays, like that's when I save like my juicy posts, like something that can get people talking. and I find out that like those Friday night posts are just fire because people were,
Wow.
engaged. And same thing with Saturday nights. I did a test and we sold some limited run T-shirts on a Saturday night and launched them Saturday night at 9 p.m. It might even been like 11 p.m. East Coast time, and that was one of our fastest selling T-shirts, just because I'm I'm testing things and I'm listening to what our customers are doing and who our customers are. I think that's where a lot of people, remember your social media isn't 9 to 5. So, and it's hard when you have social media, interns, you have social media people working for you that are on salary, they work 9 to 5, but it's kind of getting to think outside of that and, look at your entire 24-hour clock and see where your customers are.
Well, and here's the deal. I mean, it's up to the business owner. How bad do you want to build a following on these platforms? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? If it means a lot to you, then here's what it takes. Posting multiple times a day, staying up late. That's what it takes to do that. So it's kind of up to the business owner. Brandon, one thing I was thinking is, when you're talking about this, it seems like this knowing your customer, understanding your customer is, um, what you're kind of, passionate about, I guess you could say. You had mentioned that you sometimes test new demos, or not to be afraid to test new demos. What do you mean by that? If somebody knows, hey, I have this demographic is who usually shops with me. What do you mean by testing new demos?
Oh, no, no, this is a great question, and I'll tell you a couple of tests that completely failed for us. I wouldn't say they failed, but they just didn't hit as hard as I would personally expect they would. So, in the knife world, you know, the hunting knife world, obviously hunters are our key demo. But everyone, pretty much everyone in the United States owns a knife. But it might be a steak knife, it might be a kitchen knife, it might be a pocket knife, it might be, something. So I have to like constantly find out like whenever we put our brand in front of a certain demo, does it resonate with them? So over the summer I did like a big push. So like let's go after like the moto, ATV, outdoors, recreational vehicle crowd. So we set up some creative content for that. The pictures were amazing. It's probably some of our best looking photos and stuff like that. But it just didn't resonate. It just didn't hit. So it's just like, so we tested it. I have all this stuff. I'm going to keep on posting it. We're going to keep on testing it. But I know that, like, okay, let's not double down on the dirt bike guys. Even though, like, that's very Montana, it's very everything, it just didn't resonate as hard as, like, the hunting, the EDC world, which is everyday carry in our industry.
Gotcha.
Um, and then obviously, farming and ranching, like your industry, like, that's our demo. Those are our core guys, but we have to test those other industries, to find out if we're attracted to them or not.
And if you don't mind explaining a little bit more, what shows to be a successful test or a failed test? Is it the amount of engagement you get? Is it, sales? Is it the amount of people that went directly to the website after? Is it direct messages? What is a test, and how do you deem it successful or not?
It's a great question, and I really don't have an exact answer for
It's
you
all
because
gut
it's kind
feel.
of like it's a little, yeah, it's a gut feel, and it's just like overall everything. Like when something hits, it hits. Like there's no question. There's tons of comments, there's tons of likes, there's DMs, there's tons of page views. Sales, and people are looking at your merch. People are signing up for your emails. Like, so if you look at that big old, all those little data points, that's what I look at successful. But when something just falls flat and you're looking at your averages and a photo, you post a photo and it's, you're usually getting 1,000 to 2,000 likes and you get like 365. You're like, okay, it wasn't timing. That's just not our demo. Cool. Let's move
Yeah.
on.
How do you had said that, all your social, your email, your SMS all have the same voice. Um, what do you think that means to somebody that, maybe has multiple different pages, has, different platforms that they're marketing on? Why do you think that that's important for all the things to look the same?
So like I said, right now, social media is our bread and butter. It's our biggest hitter. But on the back end, we're doing a ton with email. And then that's also too, like I owned the email agency, an email marketing agency. That's where I saw a ton of success with my previous companies I worked with, collecting data, having all that to pull from, and then also owning that data versus not owning social media, which is probably something we'll get into tomorrow, later in the call with the Black Monday we just had. Um, so, the biggest thing is like, for us, like we're social media, like our top of the funnel is social media. People come to us because they're attracted to our social media. So when I send them emails, it has to feel and resonate with the stuff that brought them to our brand. I've seen a lot of brands, they're just absolutely crushing social media. And then you sign up for their newsletter and it looks like some PR agency wrote it. And it's
Hmm.
like, that's completely different. Like, if they get an email that's 1,600 words long and it's like looks like it's written like a PR release, and like, no, the person just came to your brand because they saw a picture with a 2 sentence caption and loved it. Like,
Yeah.
so if you're a social media based company as your top of your funnel, like you really want your email to match that, especially, I mean, even go as far as like if you're a TikTok brand, like your emails should be big, bright gifts and like all this stuff, the stuff that attracted them to your brand. You don't want to throw them a haymaker and just have a text based on email when you're pulling it from these like very bright, beautiful like forms of marketing.
That's really interesting. In the feed company, we have a pretty large following on Facebook, is where we kind of, I guess, because popped first. And I found it interesting in our email. We have, hundreds of email subscribers. And I noticed that when we started sending very polished, great email, whatever you want to call it, templates or whatever, like an email campaign that was very nicely done, it did worse than when you just had just plain Jane writing or just a single picture or something like that. That was way easier to create, and it actually did better. Well, what I thought was, this looks like spam. This looks like everybody else's, deal. But I think, what might be more true than that is the content that we have on our Facebook page is down to earth, filmed from a cell phone, very spur of the moment, type of stuff, and it might resonate a lot more because that's where the majority of our customers are coming from. So that's great advice. That kind of keep everything, the look and the feel of everything, kind of make it similar.
Yeah, no, and that's a great observation. And I would have to like take a look and see what your social media looks like versus your email. But that makes sense. And like again, like I said, I've just seen it happen so many times where the email department isn't working with the social media department. And those guys are in the same funnel. There's the same sales funnel, but they're not really working with each other because you know traditionally email marketers are coming from that PR world, and social media marketing is kind of coming from like that millennial, Gen Z, kind of like world, and they really haven't matched. And I've always said like, if your company's emails aren't performing and not doing, like, switch your content, treat your email like your social media if your social media is working. um, you know, and I've tested this, and I've done it even with Montana Knife Company. Is that if we have a post that absolutely crushes, that's just a picture and a story, email it to your people. Email it to
Huh.
them. Don't even it doesn't even have to be sales based. Just because if they found it interesting on Instagram, that means
It's
they're
the
going to
same
find it
people.
interesting. It's the same people. They're going to find
Yeah.
it interesting in their email, and it doesn't mean like every email has to be salesy, So it then it gives them a reason, like maybe I'll open this up and I'll read about this truck seat or read about like something random, that doesn't make any sense with the brand, but it's, they're being brought in by social. So just remember that the whole way down there, down the funnel.
I want to ask you some. I want to get tactical tips, tactical advice that you would give to um, small business owners, specifically for Instagram. And one of those things that I think a lot of people talk about, but maybe not that many people do, is, you had mentioned influencers. That's actually
Mhm.
how I became aware of you guys. Is Cameron Haynes had posted either a story or a picture and tagged you guys. Do you guys reach out to people? Do you send gifts to people or anything like that to try to promote your Instagram?
Yes, and this is probably one of our best successes is growing our Instagram account because, like I said, we can't pay to put our product in front of people. So what we have to do is and I don't even like using that word influencer. It's like these are people in our network. These are fellow
Sure,
hunters. These are people that we want to talk to. These are people we want to actually be friends with. These are
sure.
people we actually want to go hunting with. So at first, we because like you said, like I think there almost needs to be a division between what influencer marketing is and then also what like network marketing is, and like
What do you mean by
Instagram
that?
network mark. So like to me, when I think influencer marketing, you're going to like an influencer firm, you're paying for the person with the biggest likes, and you're paying them here, post this, say this, do this, say this, and that's like when someone's a paid influencer.
Sure.
We've never really gone that route. What we do is, we're just like, hey, Cam, like, we've been following you for years. We love what you do. Can we send you knives? No, you know, no obligations. Just if you like them, you like them. And that's what we do. We do that with a lot of people, in different industries and stuff like that. The biggest thing is like getting to know them, getting, bringing, and then bringing in other companies that are in your related space but aren't competitors.
Okay. What do you mean by
That's something
that?
that, so for us in the hunting world, we like we're friends with some of the top camo companies. We're friends with some of the top optics companies. We're friends with some of the top bow manufacturers, gun manufacturers, pack manufacturers. Like because
And
us.
how do you work together with each other though?
So what we do is, at the beginning, before we had any, clout, or how would you say, like any like reputation,
Sure.
we went out and just bought everything out of our own pocket. So we went and bought packs, and we went and bought, binoculars, and we went and bought camo, and we started working all of their stuff into our content. And pretty much giving them free content through us. So we would, what I would do is I would do a photo shoot with all, like say like Eberly Stocks camo, and then what I would do is we'd post about it, and then I would DM them like, "Hey, we were on a hunting shoot. We used all your camo. Here's a free Dropbox of content." And then out of nowhere, they're sharing our stuff with our knife in it and all this
Huh.
stuff. And I've done this 20, 30 times, and it's cool because you're giving to a brand before you're asking them to promote your stuff. And you're not even really asking, like they're proud to promote your stuff. And if someone did that vice versa, and we've had people take notice and do that, and it's like awesome, we have knife pictures to post now, and then just happen to
I feel
be
like that is one thing that people get wrong so often on social media is just like that. If you receive an email or a Dropbox from somebody with a bunch of content for you with and you know who it came from, you know how to tag them, you know what they're wanting from that. It's like don't say it. It makes me mad when people are like, they give this whole spiel and they're like, so if you need advice on blah blah blah, reach out to my, it's like, you don't have to say it, we know what you're doing, like just leave it at that, and it makes it less, like people understand what you're doing, just leave it at that.
right, and like you said, but it's not like we're not providing value up front either. It's not like we're asking
Yeah,
for anything for free, and I think that's the biggest thing is provide value up front when you're small. And then once you start getting bigger, then that's the point where you get to be a little pickier and do some other stuff. And other brands will start taking notice. Like, dude, these guys are blowing up. Like they're kind of like the hot girl in high school right now. Like
yeah.
let's rise with them.
So
So
have you found that other brands actually push your stuff, or do they just kind of share your stories and stuff like that that helps you?
it's been a mix. It's been a mix. We've had some great brand partners. And we push their stuff, they push our stuff hard. I mean, like, even we've had other brands on when we have a knife drop, they'll dedicate a post to our knife saying like, hey, these guys are dropping a knife tonight, Thursday, and
Wow.
this is your chance to go get it. And like that stuff we love. And obviously, like if they do that to us like once, we usually reciprocate three times over,
Yeah.
because you can't take that stuff lightly. It's huge. Um, and that's another thing too. If a brand is willing to share their customers with you, that is just that's the ultimate form of just like a compliment, flattery. Then you have to take that very serious. And even more is like you're taking on some of their customers. You have to treat them well. You have to make sure you're respecting them. You're showing them great content, and then also too you're respecting the brand that they came from too. So you can't take them from one brand and then start shoving another brand in front of their face.
Right.
face.
Yeah.
So it's a balance.
Right. That's incredibly tactical advice that people can use to leverage other people with large followings to grow. When it comes to creative, you've mentioned photo shoots, you've mentioned videos, things like that. What are things that where do you sit on the line of you need to hire a $20,000 videographer, or you need to shoot everything on your cell phone in a dark room? You need to, what should businesses do that would help them specifically for Instagram?
You know that you know that's very like business specific. But if I had to give anyone advice that I've seen work really well, is hire a bunch of different people for short amounts of time. So go out and hire creatives. Just say like, hey, for the next 3 months, well, I'm going to hire you for 3 months. I want, 3 galleries a month. And then, if that works out, hire them for more. But if it doesn't work out, you said 3 months, move on to the next. And the idea is to slowly start curating these group of creatives that want to go out and shoot your stuff. And that's what we've done really well with Montana Knife Company is, we worked with a ton of creatives. Some people just, shooting a knife is hard when it's not hunting season. And we understand that. But then some people like, we have this one photographer, she's just absolutely killing it for us, because she goes camping every weekend. She takes her knife out and shoots these beautiful shots. And we're like, okay, you're stuck with us no matter, doesn't matter. You're our girl right now for camping. So what I say is, start, instead of hiring someone right off the bat, start hiring, freelancers for small amounts of time to see what works with your brand, see what stuff you actually like, see what works on your social media, and then just kind of and you can kind of see that like, there's underlying theme of test everything,
Sure.
constantly test, and you know, yeah. So that's what I would advise for any brand. In like video, it's like I love video, I absolutely love it, but it's hard to produce enough video to post new content every day.
Yeah.
So videos are very important, but in this world of where you have to be posting every day, when we're talking specific about Instagram, if you're like I'm like Montana Knife Company isn't the brand where I could just pick my phone up and start talking to it and it's an amazing piece of content. For a digital marketer or for someone who's trying to grow businesses and they're just dropping facts about businesses and stuff
Advice
like
or
that, or
something. Yeah.
advice like a video every day, like that's going to hit, it's going to resonate, people are going to share about that. But like going back to like your guys' personal brand, for a feed store, a video, it's going to be hard to do a video every day
Yeah.
on feed. But a photo from a photo shoot, you get this big drop box with like 100 photos, from different angles, different horses, different locations, different people using it, different applications. Then you have stuff to post every day.
Sure. And do you think that what do you think, and I know this is hard, but if you had to set it up in you know, a two-sentence answer, what do you think sets Montana Knife Company's Instagram? I know that, the company is a totally different deal, but just your Instagram, what do you think sets it apart from other, there's other knife manufacturers that, let's say, I don't know, Benchmade or Gerber or whatever. There's other
Mhm.
knives that can run an Instagram and get the same pictures you guys can. Do you think it's your pictures are more creative? Do you think it's the strategy behind the scenes of the sharing and the things like that? What do you think has built you guys' following over the last 9 months to a year?
You know what? I think about it. I think about that all the time. Like, what makes us different?
I want to
Because
do more of
knives.
it.
Yeah, I want to do more of it.
Yeah.
Because it is a knife. Everything that could possibly be done to a knife has been done. It's It's like one of the oldest industries in the world when you really think about sharp, stabby things. That was the
Wow,
first
that's
tool invented.
true. Yeah.
So, you know, 120,000 years, whatever, how long man's been around, they've been making sharp, stabby things. So whatever's been done has been done. But what I think separating us apart is that we're bringing our customers along for the journey of us building this company from scratch. We're very transparent about our issues, sourcing steel, sourcing products, nuts and bolts for the knives. There's been times like, listen, guys, we're just completely out of steel. Like we just can't make any more knives, and we're very transparent about that. And we literally have customers trying to source steel for us and stuff like that. It's amazing. But the idea is like bring them along the ride. And you know our content is based off of growing our company. It's kind of like a behind the scenes. Like, yes, we do post these big, beautiful polished photos, but if you look at our stories are kind of like behind the scenes. It's Josh making knives, Josh's kids in the shop, boxing knives and all this stuff. So you kind of get both worlds. You get the behind the scenes, you get the polished, thing, and then also to bringing in all the friends of our brands, the people relate to, and all that stuff. So I think that, and then also just us being, we're kind of like there's only 5 employees right now, so we can be really nimble.
People
um
like to see the underdog, yeah, side.
yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, man, tell me what you probably didn't do anything yesterday because there was nothing you could do. So, tell me what yesterday was like for you. If I mean, here's the deal. Like, I'm thinking this might not even be posted for 3 or 4 weeks. So,
Hmm.
if there is like another crazy story that comes out of we know why that happened or whatever, then that'll be interesting to look back on this episode. But what do you think happened yesterday, and what went on from your point of view of the Instagram, Facebook company shutting down?
So, yeah. So obviously, yesterday is, I guess people are already dubbing it right now, is Black Monday. This is the longest,
That's awesome.
social media outage. It was 6 hours long without Instagram, Facebook, and WhatsApp app. I
Wow.
talked to a high up in Amazon, and he's like, "Nope, they're just DNS servers got rocked. Someone rocked their DNS servers." That's what I'm hearing. Not saying that's what's actually happened. So the big thing is that social media was down for 6 hours on a Monday during the middle of the day. Um, you know, Crazy thing is we have a release this Thursday for our next knife, and so these release weeks are huge for us. So I have a lot of these social media events planned to happen until Thursday, and Monday morning we launched a knife giveaway with one of our biggest I don't want to say influencers, but one of our biggest friends, Andy Stump. He's big with Black Rifle
Oh
Coffee, and he
yeah, I've
has a
heard of him.
huge
Yeah.
podcast and all this stuff. And Monday morning he launches this, win a one-on-one custom knife from me. All you have to do is follow my page and follow Montana Knife Company. And that happened Tuesday morning, and within an hour, it had like 2,000 comments, 4,000 likes. It's just blowing up. Like our Instagram's blowing up. And then, if I'll let you guys into a little secret that I found too. A little, you said, little tactical secret is, if you do a giveaway on someone else's page and it's going to be big, it's like one of your big hitters, do a giveaway on your page at the same time for something different, because
Huh.
those
Okay.
people that entered are coming because they're giveaway people. So they
Okay.
entered the page through a giveaway. They're going to land on your page. And so what we did, I'm not sure if you've been on our page or not, we're giving away a Garmin watch.
Yeah, I saw
You
that.
know, yeah. So that was we planned that so that the
And
one
is
giveaway is
Garmin
going
one of
to.
those companies, kind of going back to what you were talking about earlier? Is Garmin one of those companies, or you just kind of just went and bought a random Garmin deal, or what?
Well, so no, so Garmin's completely neutral. So we have no contact with Garmin, so it doesn't make any of our other partners mad that we're using this camo over
Oh,
that camo or giving away this
gotcha.
pack versus this pack. So we've been giving away a lot of Garmin stuff because no matter how hard I try, I can't get a contact there, which is fine because it's working out for us.
Wake up, Garmin.
Wake up! And like I wear a Garmin watch all the time, and we always give away, like, we'll buy products and give away those products that we like, we personally like.
Well,
We like
that's
Garmin.
probably why they won't get back to you. They're like, this freaking guy's just buying all this stuff, so we just
You
won't get
buy
back with him.
Yeah.
It's a perfect business plan.
No, it is.
So okay, so you give something away on your page, but why? Because that increases the engagement that those people they come over to your page and now they're instantly hooked again for an additional giveaway. Is that kind of why?
Yeah, exactly. So the idea is like get them to our page and then get them interacting as fast as possible because that actually helps entice the algorithm. So the algorithm seeing when people land on your page, they're not only following you, but they're liking and they're commenting and they're tagging their friends. So like that just pleases the algorithm as
And
much as
oh, by the way,
possible.
you're posting twice a day, so your picture's in the top of their feed next time they get on Instagram.
Bingo, bingo.
Gotcha.
And then also too, for them to know if they win that the second giveaway, the deadline to be announced has to be longer than the original giveaway. So it
Makes
makes
sense.
them stick around longer than when they find out they won the knife. So there, I've just realized like I kind of stumbled on this by accident with a previous giveaway that we were running at the same time, and I was like, let's keep doing this. And I tested it and it worked. But to go back to Black Monday, all of this happened 2 hours before the outage, and I'm like,
Dang.
oh my lord, like we ended up picking up like just it was a firestorm in the morning, like everything possibly that we wanted to happen happened, and then Instagram and Facebook went out. So I'm sitting there in my office completely alone, because now I can't even talk to anyone on social media.
Yeah. Now hey, there were some people that I don't even have another way to get a hold of them. Like that is
Bingo.
how I communicate with some people. It's crazy.
It is crazy. No, and that's what I'm talking to all my other like marketing buddies. Like we're texting back and forth. We're like, "This is the end of the world. Like this is how it starts."
Hey,
I
I
was
got on
joking.
I got on Gmail, right after that. Freaking Gmail wasn't downloading either, and I went on a deal, and Gmail was having a lot of, like, outages and stuff too, and I was like, "This is it." Like,
This is it. This
if
is it.
Facebook and Google are down, like, that's it. But that's
So
crazy. So, in saying that, um, is giveaways in influencers, I mean, is that kind of the 2 that you stick with?
yeah, those two there, like it's like that network marketing within your industry that have similar customers that would buy your product. That's probably our number one thing. The giveaways are just cool little boosts every once in a while, and you can't use them all the time, and you can't rely on them. But they're good to have just when we'll do one like every couple months, not
Okay.
once a month. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
um, but then also too, the biggest thing is, and this is my bread and butter from previous work lives and stuff like that, is if you're doing social media, your number one goal of social media is to get them on your email list. Get them on your email list or your text message list. Because as what we saw yesterday, there might come a time where is it a foreign agency, someone just wipes out all that data, wipes out all that stuff. And then you have this company built around Instagram, but you're not gathering emails
You're
and your stuff like
vulnerable.
this. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, so for MKC, like our email list is actually twice the size of our social media, just
Wow.
because that's where actually all of our focus is. And it used to drive my business partner Josh crazy because he's a knife maker. He's really good at networking, like that's his thing. But
Right.
also too, when I started working with him, I was like, listen, I don't care if you sell that knife to your grandmother. I want her email, I want her address, and I want her to put it through our Shopify account so she's cookied. So and it used to drive him nuts, but now he's like, now I understand. Like now we have
Yeah.
almost 100,000 emails. We have all these contacts. We have all these people that if social media, Instagram, Twitter, everything just disappears one day,
I
we
own
can
them.
still reach
Yeah.
them. Yep.
Yeah. That's incredibly powerful. And are you like with that, you had mentioned text message marketing. We do quite a bit of that. I'm curious your perspective. How do you guys do that?
We do.
Are
And
you just
so
kind of like in the beginning stages, or how is it going?
it's interesting. So I was fortunate enough to like be one of the. I mean, I don't want this to come off as like cocky or whatever, but like so I stumbled on the text message marketing like probably close to 8, 9 years ago, back when it like no one was doing it. And it was like the first time, and like we were literally just scrubbing. And when there's no rules, there's no FTC rules in
Yeah.
text message marketing, and I was literally just going to our Magento backend, just scrubbing all of our phone numbers, plugging them into like this just super spammy like text message thing, and just blasting like on like
You're
no
the
one
reason
subscribed
we
like
got rules now, Brandon.
that's we are. I'm definitely the reason.
Hey, have
so
you
so
are you aware of, like, I'm sure you are, like, Gary Vaynerchuk and stuff?
oh yeah,
You're
yeah.
the guy that he always says marketers ruin everything. That's you're the
A
guy.
100%. No, it trust me. And so I've seen text message marketing work really well back in the day when no one was doing it, and it was just a form of notification, mass notification, and it worked really well. And then I watched it dip, and now I'm kind of watching it come back, but you have to treat it differently. It's not a form of mass communication. You have to use it it has to be very permission based for it to work.
That's really
So for me,
interesting.
just to like scrub my list and just blast someone, like it's just gonna just do worse for it than if I like, listen, guys. So, and then this is another thing that happened yesterday. Us being nimble as a small company, we're out for 6 hours. I was like, there has to be a way for us to use this to our advantage. So what I did is I went and set up an email and pretty much just said, like, Facebook and Instagram are down. We don't know how long it's going to be down for. This is why companies should, and we're always kind of like that big anti-corporation, anti-global corporation company, and we're like,
Yeah.
this is why companies shouldn't rely on these, big tech and corporations and stuff like that to get their message out. So listen, text Montana to our phone number, and we'll only let you know when knives are available. But then also too, that number goes two ways. So if you have a question, text us and we'll answer it back.
You rascal.
And just from that one email, we doubled our text list because nobody was on social media. The only thing they could check is their emails yesterday.
Genius.
I never received so many messages from fellow business owners from one email ever. Like some are very powerful messages.
Yeah.
Let's just say that.
Sorry, sucker. So answer me this: what text message platform do you guys use?
So I run everything through Klaviyo,
Klaviyo.
which is
Okay.
yeah, which is a very popular email marketing platform. But at the end of the day, like I prefer Shopify. It's the easiest to use.
That's what
Takes
we
no
use.
coding.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great company. And then Klaviyo works best with Shopify. So
Oh,
all that
okay.
data that comes from Shopify gets plugged into Klaviyo.
It's just
So
so integrated. Yeah.
it's so integrated, super easy to use. And they just rolled out text message marketing last year. So they waited a real long time to get into the SMS game to do it the right way. So I mean, you can go as far as, so not only do I have that text message that says like, hey, you know, sign up for a text message, but then once they sign up, they instantly get another message saying, giving them tips on how to get a knife. So you can set up flows and stuff like that for social media. I mean, for SMS.
Wow, that's cool. I did not realize that. That's really interesting. I need to look into that. We use one called ZipWhip. I don't know if you've heard of it or not, but we started, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 years ago. Kind
That's
of like you're
awesome.
saying, it was like right when ZipWhip came around. And there was only like 3 companies to choose from, and it was one of the rare, or one of the. There wasn't very many companies that had an actual full length number. And so we're able to use the actual number that people call our store. We're able to use that same number as a text message. So it's kind of like, it feels normal. And we just used it for customer communication. Hey, we were out of stock of this. It's back in, stuff like that. But now we're actually sending out like a weekly message and things like that. And,
Oh, that's awesome.
but I feel like it has a lot to be desired. It lacks a lot on, the text message marketing portion of it. It's great for just communication and stuff, but on that front, it's a little bit different. So that's really interesting. I'll have to look into that. For one final question, man, if you had to give one piece of advice to someone who's feeling plateaued in their business, maybe they're feeling in a rut, whether it's just specifically in Instagram, or they're feeling like their sales are down, they can't grow anymore. Again, this could be on their Instagram page or whatever, or maybe they're just starting out. and you had to give them one piece of advice to better their business, the theme of the podcast, what would you say to that person?
You know, what I would say the biggest thing is if you're a small business and you've been around for a while and you can look back at your history, like do an honest audit on your activity, like of what your customers are able to see of you, what your customers have done. Do an honest audit, or ask a friend in a fellow industry or a fellow business partner, like, hey, take a look at my Instagram, like really my Instagram, my social media, my email marketing, like every little communication that you send out there to your customers. Like do an honest audit of it and ask yourself, would I do that again? Would I have done it better? And like would I hire someone to do that? Would I pay someone to do what I just did? If those answers are like, man, I wish I would have done more, I wish I would have done better, I wish I went a little harder, you know, immediately just go and just set a short-term goal for like 1 month and just be laser focused on that one goal. And if it's like, if you're stuck at like 25,000 followers and you want to get to 30, just that next month, just do everything possible to get 5,000 followers. And then once you get that 5,000 followers, just then kind of like re-gauge your goals. But I guarantee you, like if you do everything possible to get those 5,000 followers for that next month, it will affect everything in your business. It will affect your emails. It will affect your customers. It will affect your orders. It will affect everything. If that one thing is positive for your brand, it's probably going to affect everything.
That's really, really good advice, man. I sure do appreciate you. You're not only do you have the ideas and the ideology and stuff, but you also have the practical advice, and I really appreciate that. Both ends of the spectrum on that. You seem like you are a very well thought out person around marketing, and you guys' Instagram and growth is proof of that and evidence of the good things that you've been doing. So I really appreciate you being on today.
Oh, dude, Steve, no, thank you. I mean, this was great. I don't get to talk much about the geeky back end stuff, so it's fun to talk about it.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much for being on. Hey, thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Better Business Podcast with me, your host, Steve Cook. Starting or growing a business is hard work, so I hope that today's advice made it just a little bit easier for you. We'll be sharing more about this exact topic all this week on my social platforms. You can find me on Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, or if you would like to get a personalized blog post from me on this topic, you can join my email list, and I will send you an email once a week. You can check the show notes to subscribe to that, or find me on my website, whatever's easier for you. Now get out there and go grow a better business with this advice from today's Real Pros. Thank you for listening.